Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Torres.
And I'm Tanya Rivero. We will get to those stories in just a moment, but we begin with the nation's deadliest mass shooting in more than 2 years. 8 children shot and killed in what authorities are calling a domestic disturbance in Shreveport, Louisiana.
The victims' ages range from 1 to 14 years old. 2 other people were also wounded.
Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon joins us from the newsroom with more on what we know about the gunman. Sonia.
Tanya, authorities believe the person responsible for this mass shooting in Shreveport in a residential neighborhood targeted members of his own family. That man is now dead after a carjacking and police chase. Now police are trying to piece it all together and determine why someone would want to kill 8 children.
This is a tragic situation, maybe the worst tragic situation we've ever had.
Authorities in Shreveport called a briefing this morning on a domestic incident from overnight near the crime scene. There were 2 homes. Neighbors were stunned as police revealed that 8 children were found dead, 2 adults survived and were taken to a hospital. Police believed one suspect was responsible for what they called a gruesome scene.
I know some of the suspect's children resided there. I'm not sure if at one point in time he lived there. We know he had ties to both residences, whether that was romantic relationships or kin. We're working to put all that information together.
The 8 children between the ages of 1 and 14 were found at one of the homes.
7 children were located inside that were deceased. There was an additional deceased child that looked like he had tried to escape the residence out the back on the roof.
Police believe the killer carjacked a vehicle to escape, leading them on a chase into a neighboring community that ended with the officer shooting and killing him. As they process multiple crime scenes, they're trying to figure out how someone could do this.
We expect to see a certain amount of violence when you enter this job, but you don't expect it to be delivered upon a child.
Again, they do believe the victims were all related to the suspect one way or another. No word on the conditions of the adult survivors. This is being handled as a very sensitive domestic violence investigation, though police say any threat appears to be over. Joe?
All right, Sonia, thank you.
That our entire city, our nation, our community would pray. This is something that will take your breath away, that will take the wind out of your sail. And so I communicated with the Spirit of the Lord before I got here as to what is it that I can say when you really don't know what to say, when words, whatever you say, may not make sense. So in going to God, I brought this that says, God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change the things that we can, and the wisdom that we can make a difference. And then I wanted to get a scripture that possibly may not make sense. But if you trust God, it will. He says in Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for the good to those who love God, those who are called according to his purpose. All I can tell you today is my heart is saddened. It has brought me to my knees, and of course that's a great place to be, because then we can communicate with God. Some kind of way, some way and somehow, this is going to work out for the good. If no more than bringing the community together to be able to go around and touch the bloody and the dusty, people that feel like there's no hope, people that feel like that the only hope that I can have is to take my life and take 8 or 9 others. So I ask that you would be prayerful, that God would bring us together. This could be the one thing that would bring this city, our neighborhoods, our country together, that we will have one voice with one people to know that you can make a difference. It's just saying a kind word to one another. Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But the Lord has said, I come to bring life, and I come to bring the abundant life. And I'd just like to say to everybody today, keep the faith and keep hope. Because if we come together, right now in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, we will make a difference. So I'd just like to say at this particular time, Lord, we ask that you would come in our midst. Search our hearts, souls, and minds be accepted in our sight. Lord, we ask that you would lift those up that's connected. We ask that you would lift those up that's not connected. And let us all know that we come from one blood, and it is in the name of Jesus. Lord, touch the hearts of the families all over this city. Lord, we just ask that you would touch them and let them know that you can and you will take care. Be not dismayed, whatever betide. If you put your trust in the Lord, he will take care. The only words I have for you today is the words coming from the Word of God, where he says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto our own understanding. In all our ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our path. And today, we are leaning on Jesus. We are trusting that some good, some way, somehow, will come out of this situation. Sometimes in life, we wonder, why does bad things happen to good people?
They say the truth will set you free. But today, the truth just feels like a shroud. We're looking at the ashes of a family in Shreveport, Louisiana. 8 children, innocent, precious children, erased from this earth in a single morning. We're talking about babies as young as 1 year old and kids just starting to understand the world at the tender age of 14. Police are looking at a 30-year-old black man as the primary suspect. They haven't officially released any of the names of the 8 children yet, but we know who they are. We know their ages. We know that they never really got a chance to experience life, and for us, that's enough. They are literally the future of our community. And it's so sad to see that they were brutally murdered by the very person who has been assigned by God to protect them, their own family. We're seeing a family annihilated because we have annihilated the concept of family itself. This right here, what we're talking about, what we're watching, this isn't just a crime. This is a communal mental health collapse. Our people, black folks, we are 20% more likely to report serious psychological distress. Yet, every single day, we seem to get more godless. The Bible talks about a peace that surpasses even understanding, that surpasses our vulnerability to the chaos of this world. Everywhere you look, you see black people almost celebrating this idea that we are no longer a religious group. We look at each other and we look at spirituality as some sign of weakness, right? But I'll ask you one question. When is the last time you heard of a nation or a group of people conquering the world? A better question would be, when is the last time you heard of a godless people conquering the world? The Romans had their gods, the Greeks had theirs. Shaka Zulu had his gods, the Americans. They built this country you live in based on a fear of God. We've literally abandoned the conservative values that carried us as Black America through Jim Crow and the Great Depression. We literally traded the word of God for woke hashtags and self-destructive habits. We've replaced the Holy Spirit with the holy progressive ideology that tells us we are nothing but perpetual victims, and then we wonder why our men are breaking under stress, why our women are bitter, and why our homes have become war zones. Are you as tired of this as I am? Are you tired enough to admit you need help? Or will you stay stiff-necked and stubborn like the Israelites of old? There's a saying that goes, a nation is only as strong as its smallest unit, the family. And right now, our unit is literally in cardiac arrest. We see it in the streets. We watch teen takeovers, where our youth descend like a plague of locusts on the downtown areas of our city. That isn't just kids being kids, as we keep trying to rationalize it. That's a cry for help from a generation with a void in their soul where their fathers used to be. We rejected the old ways. We reject the leadership that has the audacity, the bravery to call out for order and merit, a return to past values. You ask a woman, can you please dress more modestly? She becomes violently aggressive with you, telling you that she can do whatever she want to do, and don't tell her what to do. You ask a man, please pull your pants up. Lower your voice inside. Carry yourself with some dignity. He'll damn near be ready to kill you. You know I'm not lying. We reject the old ways. We reject the old ways, the old leadership, the old lessons that were taught to us by the people who led us out of the darkness of slavery, Jim Crow, and overall government-sponsored oppression. We have a president who says, let's make America great again. And while we regurgitate past excellence, we can sit up and talk about Black History Month and all the Black inventors. But if the president said, and this is all in the past, right? But if the president says, let's make America great again, we'll say, when was America ever great? When was it ever great? Well, damn, it had to be great at some point, because you love bringing up what we used to do and what we used to be. Excuse me. That should have fixed it. It had to be great at some point. Because if it wasn't great at some point, you wouldn't have Black History Month. If it wasn't great at some point, you wouldn't be talking about Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver and Dr. Amos Wilson and John Henry Clark and Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, et cetera, et cetera. It had to be great at some point. But part of what is necessary to get on this new path, this so-called progressive path that we've adopted and don't even know why, is a total rejection of past values. Understand that. There's a scripture in Proverbs that warns us. There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. I'm going to say that again. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Look at all your young men killing themselves. Yeah, being up in the streets, running around, acting crazy. In the moment, that seems like the right thing to do. Man, I got to get on the corner and sell this work, man. I got to feed my family, man. I got to grind, blah, 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 blah. In their mind, it seems totally right. When our young women get on the corner and prostitute and sell their bodies, in their mind, in that moment, it seems right. I don't have money to pay my bills. I can sell my body and get the money to pay my bills. It makes perfect sense at that moment in their mind. But the Bible says there is a way that seems right to a man or woman, but in the end, that way is death. Look at the situation in Shreveport. Look at these people out here, sidewalk brawls. We're literally walking the path of death right now. I just watched a video of about 20 young black women, couldn't have even been in their 20s, brawling inside of a damn Popeye's chicken. They were in there fighting for so long because nobody would break them up. Bunch of men in there and women, they wouldn't even break them up. They was in there fighting so long, I promise you, in the middle of the fight, most of them forgot why they was even fighting. But this is us right now. We have a problem. But are we man or woman enough to admit it? There's an old saying, in order to solve a problem, you first have to admit you have a problem. And black folks gonna be okay is not solving the problem. As a matter of fact, it's contributing to the mental collapse of our community. Now, I don't know why this guy did what he did. Mr. Elkins here. I don't know why he did what he did. But what I do know from the details that have been provided to us, he seemed to be having relationship issues with one of the women who he murdered. He was crying out for help on social media, posting, if you could go back in time and have kids with a different woman, would you? In another cryptic post, he said, understand to be understood. We look at these posts and we scroll and we laugh and we joke and oh, this nigga crazy. Da, da, da. Shoot, you ain't wrong. This nigga might be crazy, or he might be headed in that direction. Do you ever even just hit the messaging and say, hey man, you good? You want to link up? You want to talk about something? Probably not. Because if you do that, then you got to stop scrolling. We got to start checking on each other. But what's the solution to this? I don't think it's another government program. I don't think DEI, getting a job you ain't qualified to even perform and getting fired, is the solution. I think black folks are really going to have to get back in touch with their spirituality, whatever that may be. I think it's the black man standing up and realizing that their strength is a gift for protection, not a tool for annihilation. It's Americans, not just black, but all Americans, refusing to normalize the slaughter of each other and the slaughter of our children. We need to stop being docile and acquiescent to a system that feeds us poison and calls it progress. We live in a system that feeds us mental poison, where all the things that we know for sure are being questioned. And while we question what we know for sure, we cling to things that are uncertain. You got to wake up. You literally have to pledge your life at this point. Your fortunes, your money, your honor, all that. You have to pledge that to the preservation of your community. Because if you don't, there really won't be a community left to save. Nobody wants to hear this message. I know that. No one's going to make a video about this the way I'm doing it right now. Because now all we do is hunt for clicks and views. We don't care about the ramifications of anything we're saying. But when are you going to get tired of it? When are you going to get tired of seeing this type of nonsense popping up on your freaking TV screen? Will you ever get tired of it? Or will you finally get tired of it when you laid up on your deathbed? Well, I guess we wasn't never going to get that one fixed. There's a way out. There's a way up, over, and through it, whether you believe it or not. But you have to find that way and take that path. You can't just take the easy way out like Mr. Elkins did. What on earth could possess a man to unalive or kill 8 of his damn kids? And I think it might be 7, because I think the boy might have survived. We got people, I can't just blame the women. You got to look at the men too. We got the men out here complaining. The other day I made a post that said black folks talk about being the strongest and the best at everything, but always talking about how much help we ain't getting. Bro, I had 2 millionaires, multi-millionaires, men I know personally, in my comment section talking about, oh man, it's because slavery. And we victims because, oppression. I'm like, both you guys are multimillionaires. You're not victims of anything. Y'all balling out of control. Production studios and everything else. But still trying to find a way to play the victim. Do you understand that back in the day, black folks, when we was younger, black folks used to look at the situation like, man, once we get some money, shit gonna be all good. Because we looked at our biggest issue as being poverty. Back in the day when you ask black people, what is the most pressing issue in the black community? They didn't say racism. I promise you that. Even when Jim Crow was at its height, they did not say racism. They said poverty. We need some damn money. And I think that was a good thing. Because when you think that you need something that you can go out and get, now you have a path to a solution. But now if you ask these no good Negroes, what do you want? What do you think the biggest problem is? They're going to say racism. How you going to fix racism? Black folks is racist. Everyone's racist to some degree. It's literally like once we start getting some money and black folks start moving ahead financially, we had to find something else to be the biggest problem and threat that we knew there really wasn't a solution to. They can tell you that racism is the problem, but they can't point to you where racism has stopped them from doing anything that they wanted to do. And guys, this will be like a discussion. So the link is in the comments. If you want to make a comment on this or just give your condolences to those little kids who were murdered, feel free to click the link and just come up. You can. It's on YouTube. So if you're with us on YouTube, come on in, and the link will be in the comments several times. But it's like we literally had to move the goalpost because things were getting too good financially. And now you have black folks that's multimillionaires talking about their victims. You got people on social media with $50 million in the bank talking about how colonialism and colonization and slavery is holding them back. It really doesn't make any sense. We've moved from identifying real problems that we can fix and moving towards fixing those problems to blaming everything on problems that are really just in our mind. Therefore, they are impossible to fix, but we're okay with that because it gives us a reason to keep on complaining, right? It gives us a reason to just keep on going with the crap. And the problem with that, the problem with becoming the most successful victim class on earth, right, is that it really puts your children in a bad place mentally. If a man actually believes that by changing his financial situation, he can't do something to impact the future of his children in a positive way, what does he even have to hope for? What does he even have to work for? There's somebody who said money can't fix all your problems. Money is not the root of happiness. Somebody else said, well, sure beats the hell out of being broke. And I'm not telling you to lean to money. I'm telling you to lean towards understanding. Lean towards spirituality. Find a higher power, whatever that may be. Brooklyn Stevens saying it right here. Suicide rates among black adolescents have been rising. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s. Man, I remember when you go into church and it was full of young people. They were in the choir. They was on the usher board. They was doing everything. Yeah, it might have seemed corny to some people, But people didn't you don't really understand that was like a foundation for people. If you had nowhere to go, you go to church. If you was broke and didn't have no money, well, you could go to church on Sunday. And if you went to the right church, you could get a good meal. They got the potluck. That gave black people a time to be a community. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, do not forsake the gathering of yourselves together. Look at black folks now. We don't gather together anymore like just to be among us. We used to be able to have house parties till they start shooting them all up. My cousin came out here to visit. He from Indiana. He from Chicago, but he lives in Indiana, a little white town. He goes to high school there. They still have house parties. The kids go Sunday, Saturday night, get drunk, whatever, straight varsity blues type stuff. He come out here to visit me for a week. He telling my daughter, yo, where the house parties at? Let's go to the parties. I looked at that fool. I said, dude, listen. You were in Los Angeles, California. Don't nobody have no house party. And if they do, 9 times out of 10, it's going to get shot up. Do you realize how sad that is? Do you realize how sad that is? Let's be real. Juggernaut 44 said it was full of young people because their parents or elders were forcing them to go. Them young kids did not want to go. That's not true. That's a lie from the pit of hell. What are you talking about? I used to go to my friend's church, right? I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, but I used to go to my friend's church when I was like 15, 17, just because that's where everybody was going to be. I used to go in there because there were some cute girls up in there. You know, you get a good word. The music was good. Bro, and those kids now still go to church. Well, a lot of them do. But now we make church look like it's a bad thing.
A lot of them do.
Turn your playback off. What up, Zarth?
It's a bad thing.
Hello?
Yo, got you. What's up?
Oh, hey.
Hey, how you doing?
You hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I think it starts with doing the little things in life. Like, I mean, you could like go to if you see somebody in your community, for example, and you could just, if they're having like a old woman or something and she's having problems with her groceries, just help her out, take her to her car or something. Or, I mean, it starts with just basically action. I mean, how long have our people been discussed after civil rights fell apart? Basically, our people just started to go. The 80s started, and then the whole degeneracy stuff happened, and then I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm trying to say, I guess what I'm trying to say is that our people have just, we complain all the time about our problems, but we don't really try to fix our issues or anything. And then at this point in life, it's like just a long time ago, I just decided that best thing to do is just to build wealth. I mean, I listened to my dad a couple of, like 2 decades ago, and then I just started investing, getting myself together. I was terrible at socializing with people, and I just told myself that I had to make a change in my life. So I went to this thing called the Dale Carnegie course, and I did that, and doors just started opening up for me. And I just decided that if I really want to help my community out and build something for the next generation, it starts with building yourself up first and trying to set an example so our people can do better. Well, that's what I think. I mean, maybe I guess that's what I think. I guess it's my first time on the show, and I just hello? Can you hear me? Oh boy. Hello?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here with you. No, but 100%. And really, guys, like I said, it doesn't have to be church. Whatever you believe is fine. What I'm saying is you gave yourself an outlet. This is something I can work towards so I don't end up getting in trouble or getting dragged down or even just sitting in the house all damn day and becoming complacent, right? Somebody in the comments is saying, oh, church is bad because it's fake. Dude, you know how many fairy tales you read when you were a child? The fox and the tortoise and the hare, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast. You spent the majority of your childhood watching Disney movies that were rooted in fairy tale and fantasy. That didn't hurt you. It helped you because it actually lets you work a certain part of your brain that deals with confidence, imagination, and creativity. If you go to church, that's not hurting anybody to believe in something. That doesn't hurt anybody. Wherever you go, mosque, whatever, it doesn't hurt you to believe in something. It actually empowers you. There have been studies about this. There are people who believe, hey, I just need to get some money. That's ultimately going to be the thing that really helps me solve a lot of life's problems. But believing in something, 100%, Juan, church is the people, right? You know how many of your problems, I mean, you got women, right? Oh, man, I can't meet nobody. Damn, back in the day when people was in church, you didn't have those same problems in our community. Girl, where you met him? I met him at church. Girl, our sister church came over and I met him. I met him at the church picnic, right? I'm just telling you, there used to be things that were foundational in our community and we just abandoned those things. And those things were kind of like a fix-all or like a cure or a solution to a lot of the problems that we face today. I don't want to go to church, but I want to go to the bar, get fall down drunk, and get sexually assaulted. But church is the problem. Oh, church is bad because it's nothing but a bunch of fairy tales. But the kids is shooting up the neighborhood. Those kids who might have been moved not to do that if they were sitting in church. I'm not saying we didn't have problems when people was going to church and they had some type of spirituality. Hell, you could teach people African spirituality, anything. But we are at a point where I feel we need a foundation to stand on as a group of people. Because right now, we ain't standing on shit. And you know what they say, if you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. And that's what I feel, that's where I feel like we are as black folks. We're just kind of going around, falling for every damn trick under the sun. We done got a hold to this internet, right? And the internet is full of lies and deception and misinformation. We spend the majority of our time on it. But if you have nothing to reference back to, nothing that you know for sure that you can lean on when you're uncertain during uncertain times, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to be walking around falling in every pothole of deception allowable. I see these dudes on here, Hebrew Israelites. Man, they got Hebrew Israelites in Mexico now. I said, what the hell? And I realized something. I said, that's not because the religious situation in Mexico is deteriorating. That's because the rise of progressivism, socialism, and woke ideology. Because the number one thing this woke culture and progressive culture needs, they need you to not understand who you are as a person. They need you to be an empty husk so they can come along and fill you up with whatever nonsense they pushing for the day or the week. I see grown-ass men on the internet arguing for the right to kill babies through abortion. I see grown-ass women fighting and arguing for transgender men, the ones who dress up like women, to be able to play in women's sports. That girl, Lance Bottoms, you know that chick who's mayor of Atlanta, I think? You know who that is, Zarth? Is her name Keisha? Sarkeisha? What's her damn name? Lance Bottoms, right? I just know her last name because it's Bottoms, and that has something to do with butts, and I like big butts, and I cannot lie. Yeah, Keisha Lance Bottoms. She was former senior advisor to the president, I think under Biden, and she is an attorney. And I believe she was mayor of Atlanta or something. Yeah, she was the mayor of Atlanta, right? This woman was on the debate stage because I think she's running for the governor's seat in Georgia. She's on the stage talking about how women, transgender women who are men, dressed up like women, have a right to play in women's sports. She would not veto a bill that allowed them to play in women's sports. And I look at stuff like that and I say, I shake my head. I don't shake my head because I just think she's stupid and ignorant, which I think that too. I just be like, black folks done lost their way. I remember a time when we used to look at stuff like that and say, man, that's white people shit. We didn't even worry about stuff like that. Now we out here fighting for it like it benefits us in some way. Stupid. You know how many black girls only go to college because they could play a sport, dribble a basketball or something like that? Now you want to make room so a white man could come in dressed like a woman and take their position. Do you realize how stupid you are? Because these other groups, they don't mind just saying, you know what? I got to put on a dress to get a scholarship. I'll do it. And then you lose out. You just don't care now because they just trying to be in the swim team. But wait till they start trying to get on the basketball team. Wait till they start trying to get on the gymnastics team. Wait until they start trying to invade the few sports that black women have where they could actually go professional and make a living, earn a living. Then we're going to have a problem with it. After it gets nice and cemented into law and you can't do nothing about it. It's exactly what they did in Europe. It ain't going to hurt nobody. It's not a big deal until it was. Now they marching through the streets trying to get their rights back that they willingly gave up. But that's the black community for you. We out here doing what we've always done. We out here trying to fight everybody in their mama battle instead of focusing on what's important and what's detrimental to us. I saw the girl, I forgot her name, but the girl, is it Riley Gaines or something? What was the girl name? The swimmer, right? She went to San Francisco University to speak against the trans stuff, right? Tell me why it was a whole black man hitting her, attacking her in the hallway at San Francisco University. A grown-ass black man. The white people was talking shit but didn't touch her. The black dude jumped his out there and started trying to fight her. I'm looking like, dude. I was like Steven on Django, Lord help me kill this nigga. Like, I was literally looking at that like I was ashamed. But it's like we don't even care. It's a lot of us don't care. But I do care. And I'm going to use my platform to talk about it. If you don't like it, don't watch. Go watch whatever it is you focused on while your kids can't read. Go watch whatever it is you focused on while your daughter talking about, I think I'm a lesbian. Your son, he putting on your high heels when you ain't home. Go. Go continue to distract yourself while your house and your community falls apart. Because a lot of y'all ain't got no damn money and the rest of y'all don't even know how to act. So you think you're going to be able to just transition over, I'm going to go just stay by the white folks. No, you're not. Them little rent payment scams, they're tracking those down and they're wiping them out. You know the one where they can move in an apartment they can't afford, don't pay the rent for a year and then just move? Do it off of a CPN? Those days are gone soon. Very soon. You can't keep running away from your problems. At some point, you got to turn around and say, you know what, I got to face it. It's like a lot of black folks, you go to their house and the handle on the toilet don't work. And I look at everyone and their back arms is a little bigger. Big mama back arms is getting yoked. And I ask myself, how many years have these niggas been lifting up the top off of that toilet bowl and pulling that damn string to flush the toilet? Because nobody says, you know what, let me just go over to the hardware store, spend $6 damn, get another chain or get another handle, and just fix the problem. That's the black community. There's a way to fix it. We know exactly how to fix it, but we don't want to take enough time from doing the bull crap that we do to give it enough attention so that it can get repaired. Desik Mezik said, Brandon, you're full of lies and misinformation. Anybody listening to this, super dumb Brand. I mean, he can't even write full sentences, and he's calling me dumb. Me telling you to go and try to take time to maintain and preserve your community makes me dumb. And therein lies the problem, guys. Therein lies the problem. When you talk to black people about saving ourselves and preserving what little we got left, you're dumb. I was talking to a buddy of mine today. He stopped watching my channel a long time ago. He likes to send me stuff about Israel. Bro, what the freak does Israel have to do with our community? Israel ain't over here making your fathers slaughter their children. Israel ain't over here making your women get on the corner and sell themselves. Israel ain't over here making your kids join gangs and slaughter each other in the damn street. I'll tell him like I tell y'all, we are focused on the wrong damn things. 100%. You don't know where to go? Shit, go to God. Cause I don't know you. I can't tell you who to go to. I can tell you believe in God, go to God. You got a Bible, start reading it. Do everything it tell you to do, and don't listen to these no good Negroes and what they tell you to do, because they 9 times out of 10 gonna set you up. I don't mind giving people that message. I gave people that message for a long time when I was younger. And as I get older, I'm realizing, hey, these people need that. Some people cannot be religious or spiritual, and they'll be fine because they have a basic understanding of humanity and how to behave themselves. But I'm not going to lie. There's a reason why that white man gave you the Bible during slavery. Because he knew a lot of y'all didn't know how to act. He said, I'm going to give you this book as like kind of like a guideline on being civilized, right? See, not because you weren't civilized in Africa, but once he separated you from your civilization in Africa, he had to give you something that could fill the void. Because he was going to treat you like an animal. That was chattel. He treat you like a damn dog or a pig out there, right? Have you living like a pig live. But he had to do something to preserve enough of your humanity so you wouldn't raise up and bite his ass on the damn jugular and take out his whole family. Bite him on his Achilles tendons, right? And he put religion right there. So what am I going to tell you? I'm going to be real, and y'all not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I feel like our people have devolved back damn near to savagery in many ways. And I can't prescribe them because I ain't no damn psychologist. And the people who are trained to be psychologists, they ain't going to fix them because if they fix you, that takes money out of their pocket. So I'm going to tell you, just go back to Jesus shit. That's what helped the white man keep you civilized enough so he could keep you on the plantation. I need to keep you civilized enough so I can walk down the damn street without you robbing me and stealing my wallet. So I got to use the tactic that the white man used. I can't beat you. I wouldn't do that. I'm getting older, right? Y'all probably beat me up. I got to give you the Bible. Here, man, read this. You got a problem? Go to this. Read it every day when you wake up in the morning and every night before you go to sleep. And call me when you're done. If you don't understand something, hit me up. I feel like Black Loki, I feel socially black people have devolved. I'm not going to lie to you. You look at this dude, somebody brings up Almighty Suspect. Prime example. Dude came from a good home. Mother and father in his life. He chose to act like a damn degenerate. He chose that. He chose a path that's leading him to jail. Vicious behavior, assaulting an old woman. Vicious, an animal. Now he wants sympathy. Oh, I got babies and shit. A wolf could have babies, nigga. What do that got to do with you out here acting savage? Doing shit that even the most heinous damn gang member or criminal, doing shit Al Capone wouldn't do, Bugsy Siegel and Babyface Nelson wouldn't do, beating up an old lady, bro. Just ruthless. That's our society. That's deterioration of our society, y'all. Whether you want to accept it or not, that's what it is. And people get mad at me because I just discussed the facts of it. It's not my fault. I didn't make it. I didn't make it that way. But you want a solution from me? I ain't your daddy. I can't tell you what to do. Go read the Bible. That'll help you, I promise. That will help you. Because that's what it was meant for. To help animalistic people who lost all sight of humanity, who were losing their humanity after they were viciously ripped away from, their culture and their civilization. It helped them regain, or at least regain some of their humanity. And that's what we need. I'm gonna be real with you. That's what we need. I'm coming out of Cali. I don't know where y'all at. But I'm telling you, I see it every damn day. We got people, like, if you look at California and New York, the reason why these states are the way they are? Don't blame the Democrat Party. Because politicians just do what people want them to do so that they can get elected, right? They're like puppets. Blame the people. Blame the people who chose freebies and handouts over humanity. Blame the people who adopted or clung to this destructive, self-destructive idea of freedom, right? Where it's like, they think that freedom is just being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want to do it. And the politicians oblige them. Okay, y'all want to just be free? Okay. You want to sell ass and not go to jail? Okay. We'll decriminalize stuff like prostitution. We'll just let you stand out on the corner with your ass out all damn night and the police won't mess with you. Oh, your pimp beat you up and he beat you half to death and 3 in a trash can? Okay. We'll make it to where he get 10 years for pimping you, but you get no years for hoeing. They've given the politicians in California gave people everything they wanted, including but not limited to the pedophiles. You want to be able to mess with kids and not go down? Okay, we'll do it. I promise you. My question is, have you gotten better or worse since they did that? Has your community improved or deteriorated since they did that? Because it wasn't even this bad in the 80s and 90s now. You might have some violence and some gangs, but you didn't have nowhere near the level of predatory assault on our children, on our women, etc. Now it's in the government now. Scott Wiener and them boys. Dudes like Eric Swalwell. We come from a predatory culture that preys on the weak. We was even doing that in Africa when we was capturing slaves, selling them to the white man. We're devolving. Our people are devolving and calling it liberation. Devolving and calling it progress. I was on here last night talking about the progressive movement. Y'all think progressivism is new. Y'all, progressivism ain't new. Do you know who started the whole idea of progressivism in this country? Can any of you guys in the comments, all the smart guys, can you people said, black folks, they'll tell me, oh, I'm progressive. Can any of you guys tell me who was the father of the progressive movement in America? Tell me who that was. I'll give you a hint. He was a stone cold racist. He was the guy who resegregated. They desegregated the armed forces. He was the guy who resegregated the armed forces. Do y'all know who he was? He actually served as president. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer that. Tell me who it was. Who is the father of, boom, L-Walk, Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson. He's the one who brought progressivism into the United States of America. Resegregated the military, paid the black soldiers less, He was a stone cold racist. I bet y'all can't tell me what political party he was a part of. I bet you, L-Walk, you got one, L-Walk. Let them answer this one. I bet y'all can't tell me what political party Woodrow Wilson was a part of. Since, everything changed and there was the big switch, Brandon, but they was talking about progressivism at his day, way back in the day, right? Way back in the day. They was talking about progressivism in 1913. And you think that's real. Oh, Black Loki got it. He was a damn Democrat. No, it was Woodrow Wilson. It was Woodrow Wilson. Teddy Roosevelt was not a socialist. See, when you talk about Teddy Roosevelt, right? See, there's people who take the word progressive, right? He was trying to like do more regulatory stuff towards the businesses and all that, right? Protect the consumers. But Woodrow Wilson literally was looking at Europe and was like, this is a good tool to control people. He was trying to take power out of the people's hand, right? And give it over to the government who was in bed with the big corporations. The Democrat Party, man, I was at a little city council meeting. And it's crazy how some of these people actually know this stuff and they still support Democrats. A lady was talking about how the Democrats are totally bought out by the big tech, right? In California, that's what we're dealing with. The Democrat Party who runs this state being totally bought out by big tech, right? We know they're bought out by big tech. That's fascism 101. When the big tech control your government, that's fascism, right? But they'll scream, Trump's a fascist, Republicans are fascist. Whole time, they know, they're very much aware that the people that they vote for are actually fascists and are actually in bed with big tech. Big tech was giving money out big time during the presidential election. They actually gave money to both parties. And they got on there and was giving speeches like, yeah, we give both parties money. So whoever win, we'll be in good with them. But they gave the Democrats millions and millions more. That's how Kamala Harris reached $1 billion in donations and can't even string a damn sentence together. It's crazy. But it's all rooted there. Black people have been running ass first towards the Democrat Party ever since Malcolm X was alive. And it's not getting us anywhere. That's why I made a video, if you guys haven't watched, about Roland Martin. Roland Martin keep telling y'all, vote Democrat, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. But then you ask him, like, why? What are we going to get? Well, you can't get nothing. He literally said this. He was like, black people think they're going to get tangibles or something before the election is over. I'm like, what do you mean? We want tangibles. We want tangibles because we've been voting for you guys. And we haven't got nothing yet. So don't try to play us like we're stupid. Excuse me. Don't try to play us like we're stupid. Hell yeah, we want some tangibles. Because we've been giving y'all the vote for decades. And we ain't got nothing in return yet. So it makes sense that we would be asking for tangibles. It makes sense that we would say, okay, before you get our voting in, we want something in return. Because we've already given the vote for decades. And now it's like, oh nah, y'all gotta let us get elected first. That's what Biden did. Biden said, oh yeah, let them elect me first. And then I'm gonna work with y'all. We elected that fool, didn't get shit at all. At all. Why? Because once they got the vote, they don't need you no more, duh. And we still keep falling for it. Oh yeah, man. Sorry, people still listen to Roland. They swear by Roland. They swear by Roland. Roland knows more than you know. He got more knowledge in his pinky. Da-da-da. But Roland, listen. If Roland got so much knowledge, right? Why can't Roland tell you what the plan is once we give the vote? Why does Roland try to shoot down everything black folks ask for and tell them, you got to wait until after the Democrats get elected, then they'll give you something? Well, we didn't drove them. We drove them to the victory in the election multiple times. Guys, who can tell me the last president who black folks, our vote solely, put in the White House? I'll ask you that question. Who can tell me the last president, black people specifically, our vote, put in the White House? Nope. Black Logie said Obama. Wrong. Wrong again. I feel like Rafiki on the Lion King. Which president? Which president? He made a record. They said more black people voted for him than Obama. They said more black people vote. Tell me, can you guys tell me, who is he? Who was he? Nope, not Trump, not Bill. Nope. I can't believe y'all don't know this. There was a candidate who would have not won at all had it not been for black folks. White people were divided 50-50 on him. White people was divided 50-50 on him. Latinos were divided damn near 50-50 on him. And black folks came and saved the day. And when he got on stage, he said, I couldn't have won. He gave y'all credit. He said, I couldn't have won without the black community. He said when his campaign was at its lowest ebb, black folks came, stepped in, and delivered him. Right? They delivered him the victory. He said that in his victory speech. No. Jimmy Carter, but no. Ooh, I like when y'all get an education. Oh, it's blurry? I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't know why it keeps doing that. And I'm giving y'all jewels right now. Sorry, I'm going to take you down to see if that's making it blurry. I don't know. I'm going to start recording in OBS. OBS is more, it'll keep it clear the whole time. I don't know why it's so blurry. But look, the person is Joe Biden. The person is Joe Biden. White folks will split 50-50 on Joe Biden. And black people delivered him the presidency. But the reason why y'all like, oh, Jimmy Carter, this, that, and the third, the reason y'all feel like that is because we've been doing the same thing for decades. White folks have always been about 50-50 split when it comes to who they vote for. They got sense. Half of them think one way, the other half think another way. But we are the only group that comes through 80-90% for one side every time. It's us. We do that. We are kingmakers in this country. So when you complain about the way the country looks, understand that you are responsible for the country looking the way it does. You are responsible for the country looking the way it does. You are the only group in America that votes overwhelmingly for one party. Damn near 80-90% for one party. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Check this out. And this is the way it's been. This is what Malcolm X said in 1964.
The minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You can keep Johnson in Washington, D.C., or you can send him back to his Texas cotton patch. You're the one who sent Kennedy to Washington. You're the one who put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. When you see this, you can see that the Negro vote is the key factor. And despite the fact that you are in a position to be the determining factor, what do you get out of it? The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. They've been down there 4 years. And all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chump. A political chump. In Washington, D.C., in the House of Representatives, there are 257 who are Democrats. Only 177 are Republicans. In the Senate, there are 67 Democrats. Only 33 are Republicans. The party that you bash controls 2/3 of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and still they can't keep their promise to you because you're a chump.
Malcolm X told you way back then. And now you got Roland Martin telling you, yeah, keep doing that. Way in 1964, Malcolm X told you, you got a voting bloc that literally decides who's president. This is facts. Black people have a voting bloc that literally decides who's president. We are the most consistent voting group in America. But guess the problem? We consistently vote Democrat. And what is Roland Martin telling you? Oh, you got to keep doing that because you ain't going to get nothing until they get elected. Malcolm X told you. He said you've been doing it and they got elected. And when they get elected, guess what they do? They act like they don't know you no more. And then 4 years from that point, they come back in and they say, oh, hey, remember us? We need you to vote for us again. That's what they do. And you say, okay, boss. But the difference is now some of us are getting smart. Some of us are like, what are you going to give us? This is from the Brookings Institute, right? The white boys, you got to believe them. They white. Brookings Institute, credible. Exit poll data from 2020 election show the power of the black vote. This is 2020 when Biden got elected. Black Americans represented over 50% of all Democrat voters in Georgia. 33% of the state population is black. So we're 33% of the population, but we represent 50% of the Democrat vote. So if blacks don't vote Democrat, Georgia will go. If black people only represented 33% of the Democrat vote, like that's our population, Democrats would never win Georgia. Now remember, what sealed the deal for Biden was he won Georgia, right? He cheated, but he won Georgia. 20% of all Democrat voters, black people are 20% of all Democrat voters in Michigan, but only 14% of the population. And 21% of all Democrat voters in Pennsylvania, but only 12% of the population. These percentages are considering the critique of exit polls for failure to properly account for the various ways the diverse groups of blacks to rural whites engage in the political process and respond to surveys. And 2020 is not an anomaly. Black voters have long pulled their weight relative to other racial groups. If you look at this graph, the green is blacks. And how many of them voted for Democrats? Look, look, this is us. This is our population, and this is the percentage of us who vote for the Democrat Party. We're like over the top. It should be like 50-50. So it should be like 33%. There's 33% of the state is black people. It should be like black people represent 15 to 20% of Democrat voters everywhere. Nah, we 50%. We're 50%. So if white people are split down the middle, we come in like an avalanche to put the Democrats on top. But we never get anything for it. We never get anything for it. Somebody here who's slow. Children dead in this dumbass hoochie bear talking about Dems still effing clown. Well, I'll ask you one question. Who's the party running Louisiana? I'll wait. Who's running New Orleans? Who's running Shreveport? Who's running those areas of those cities, of that state? That's Democrats running that. That's Democrats running that. We got a bunch of Democrats sitting up in Congress, right? The most advancement of black Democrats has been through of black politicians has been through the Democrat Party. Why aren't they? They know, this is my thing. They know what their policies are doing to the black community, but they won't even try to get us the mental health treatment necessary to help us deal with the problems in a nonviolent way. I feel like black people in this country should get free marriage counseling. Why? Because y'all worked for 50-something years to destroy the black nuclear family. Now, why can't we get 50 years of subsidized marriage counseling and relationship counseling to help us work through the condition that y'all installed in our community? Why can't we get that? That's the type of shit I'm talking about. If you know that you worked for years against us, Democrat Party, you worked for years breaking us, right? Why can't you work for 50 years to fix us? I mean, do y'all agree or y'all disagree? Y'all are saying, oh, Democrats put guns in they put guns and drugs in the black community. Why aren't we getting a healthy amount of money every year infusing our community to deal with the ramifications of that? That's my question. If you say they owe us, we want reparations, you damn right. I don't think they owe us reparations for slavery. I think they owe us reparations for civil rights. All the shit we lost in the name of equality and unity, and open our communities up to them, and they came in and just did us dirty. They just came and did it. That's what you should be arguing for reparations for. We want an equal amount get put into our community, adjusted for inflation, as you spent to tear our community apart. Who's going to have that conversation? That's the conversation that the smart money needs to have. We ain't asking for no special treatment. We just want to get reparations to repair the damage that the war on drugs did in our community, the damage that Jim Crow did in our community, the damage that segregation did in our community, and the damage that civil rights did in our community. Can you give us enough money to bring back the businesses that we lost when y'all told black folks, okay, now y'all can go shop at white businesses? And there was a mad dash out of our own community for us to go shop at the white folk stores and eat at their restaurants. Can we get some reparations for that? See? No. Yeah, there's no such thing as equality. That's why you don't hear me talking about equality. There is a such thing as repair, though. There is a such thing as reparations, right? But like I'm saying here, we're asking for reparations for the wrong thing. That's what we don't realize. They're going to say, well, you never experienced slavery. And black folks was doing better fresh out of slavery and continue to do better ever since they left slavery. So why you need a reparation? What really destroyed our community was all this damn civil rights and all this stuff. Affirmative action and all that shit. That's what we need repair from. The stuff that they did thinking it was going to help us, but ultimately it destroyed us and helped the white woman move into pole position, in front of us for progress. Let's go here. These are Democrat candidates for the governorship of Atlanta.
Last year, the state legislature passed Senate Bill 1, known as the Riley-Gaines Act of 2025. It bans transgender athletes from participating in women's and girls' sports in Georgia public schools and universities. If you were governor and that bill came to your desk, would you have signed it or vetoed it? Ms. Bottoms, we begin with you.
Yes, I have 4 children. 2 are twins, a girl and a boy. I know that there is a difference between girls and boys in sports. What I am concerned about is that we are focusing on an issue that's not top of mind for people in this state.
So if we're focusing on an issue that's not top of mind in this state, right? Well, Lance Bottoms, tell us what the issue is. See, because if you're only going on, and here's the flaw, right? She was mayor of Atlanta. Most black folks, most people, period, in America are not worried about politics, right? So if you're only going to focus on what's on the top of everyone's mind in that state, well, you're going to be talking about men wearing high heels and shit, because that's what's going on in Atlanta. That's what people are focused on. Hookup culture and being gay. So as a leader, that's what you're going to do? Let's not focus on protecting women. Let's focus on whether Tyrone looks good in these 9-inch heels or not. And that is the flaw of black leadership. Oh, black folks ain't worried about this, so let's not even talk about it. Yeah, because we're at the point where we're simply trying to cope with all the shit we've been through. So we try to do that by escapism. So we worry about entertainment. Black folks are more worried about the Michael Jackson movie that's about to come out than the war in Iran right now. I promise you. Because we've been through so much. We just want to escape from reality as much as we can. And I don't blame us for that. But I do blame the leaders who say, let's just focus on what black people focused on. The mayor of my city, Rex Richardson, he doing the same shit. He's coming up for re-election. He ain't worried about getting these bums off the street, getting these people put in houses or shelters or whatever. He's running around trying to get photo ops with celebrities. Snoop Dogg, he was at the volleyball little game that my daughter went to with Issa Rae. See what I'm saying? Black politicians are not worried about the repair of their people. They're worried about appealing to their people through escapism and entertainment by being seen with entertainers. And you wonder why your community is not improving.
That decisions regarding who competes and how people compete shouldn't be happening. Those decisions should not be made at the state capitol. Those decisions need to be made by the respective athletic associations based on their evaluations of who should and should not compete in certain areas.
And Ms. Bottoms, just to be clear, if that bill did cross your desk as governor, would you have signed it or vetoed it?
I don't support the government making decisions about who should compete in athletics. I believe that decision should be left to respective athletic associations.
So you would have vetoed it?
Yes.
So you got the black woman, the sister girl, saying, I don't care about women in sports. I think the sports body should be able to decide who plays in sports. You mean the same sports authorities that let Fallon Fox crush another woman's skull? The sports organization that let the girl in I think it was Utah, let the boy play volleyball with the girls and he fractured one of the girls' skulls. He hit the ball so hard off of the top of her head, he fractured her skull. That's who you're going to let make the decision, huh? And this is the problem. You got one black woman up there. They think they the leaders of the community and know everything. And she up there talking stupidity. You got this dude. I don't know what he talking about. He up there looking like, what you call it? He up there looking like James. What's his name? What's the little gay dude who was a civil rights activist? And he was gay? What's his name, y'all? James Baldwin. He up there looking like James Baldwin. And this white man is go win, bro. This white man go win, bro. Please, God, let this white man be a Republican and let him win. I don't know if he's a Republican or not, but if he is, let him win. Because look, I'm black. She already didn't disqualify herself as far as I'm concerned. You talking crazy. I have a daughter who plays volleyball. And it's like I saw a boy fracture a girl's skull when he was allowed to put on a wig and play on the girls' volleyball team. I know what can happen. You ain't got to tell me what can happen. I think we should let the respective organizations. Bro, if it was, these organizations are about making money. They don't care. They don't care. Go look up the MMA fighter Fallon Fox. Y'all ain't never heard of Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox, a whole man beating a dog snot. Fallon Fox is a man beating a dog snot beating the dog snot out of females in MMA. And guess who let him compete? Authority governing bodies of athletics. They cleared him to get in an MMA cage professionally and beat the dog crap out of females. So we know that the athletic organizations cannot be trusted. They will not protect women. They won't do it. So that's where the government steps in. You guys won't do what you're supposed to do, so now the government comes in and does it for you. She would have vetoed that bill. Let him get killed. And says, I know what a woman is. I know what a boy is. I know what a girl is. But would she let her daughter get in the ring with a dude to get bludgeoned? Of course she wouldn't.
All right, thank you for your answer, Mr. Thurman. The same question to you. If that bill came across your desk and you were governor, would you sign it or veto it?
I would have vetoed it because it's really just a red herring that Republicans have used to generate votes on Election Day.
Thank you, Mr. Thurman. Mr. Duncan, the same question to you. If that bill came across your desk, would you sign or veto it?
You know, one of the worst things Donald Trump and his MAGA sock puppets have instituted in this country is just an environment, an ecosystem of hatred. They've demonized so many different people and ways of life. One of the reasons why I stand here as a proud Democrat is I don't have an asterisk mark next to loving my neighbor. I get to wake up every day and love my neighbor as is. You know, and this issue in particular is not an issue that comes up often on the campaign trail. It's a very small portion of the population, a very fractional part but a very important part of the population. Folks are talking about the affordability crisis. They're talking about the healthcare crisis. They're talking about the Donald Trump crisis. That's the heat map of concerns amongst Democrats, independents, and yes, even this batch of disgusted Republicans that are showing up that are hopefully going to support us in this campaign so that a Democrat for the first time in nearly 30 years is able to win this governor's race. As governor, I would have vetoed the bill because at the end of the day, this bill was not about making a difference. It was about simply picking a fight and proving a point.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But listen what they're saying. I would have vetoed it. My love and my neighbor. This ain't about I didn't see the question, AB. I didn't see the question. If y'all got questions and stuff, y'all want to see them, come up and ask them. The link is in the comment, right? But what the point I'm making is, I love my neighbor. They deflect. This ain't got nothing to do with loving your neighbor. This has to do with are you going to let a man go in an MMA ring or a boxing ring and damn near kill a female? Are you going to let boys be the leaders in women's track and field? Like what they was doing in Virginia or wherever that was, where them damn boys was beating the snot out of them girls in track and field and breaking all the state records, right? That's what they were doing. Are you going to strip girls of their opportunity to fairly compete in their sports so they could have something? Or are you going to veto that and let them compete amongst each other? Or create a separate league for transgenders if they want to? And my number one argument against it is you never see transgender men competing in sports. You never see women who think they're men saying, hey, I'm going to go join the men's basketball team or the men's football team. You never see that. That's how you know it's just exploitation. It's just some of these people trying to take advantage. But check this out. This is Fallon Fox, in case you guys don't know. That tall, light-skinned one is a man.
Fox to the knees, and that's it.
Look, this a woman fighting a man. I'll let the respective athletic bodies do it. And this is what's going to happen.
These girls are getting right into it. Fox taking the knees, and that's it. Felon.
Bruh. He cooked this chick. Need her dead in her skull. Messed her up. She was pretty messed up after that. But see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the reality that they try to deflect away from. They don't talk about the cases on a case by case and say, oh yeah, guys, there's a problem with this. This is not fair. Even Gavin Newsom, the King Democrat, was like, yeah, I know boys competing in women's sports isn't fair. And he still went right in and tried to sign a bill to block Title IX or whatever it was. Because he doesn't give a damn. I know it's not fair, but at the end of the day, I don't care and I don't give a damn. Hold on. So, now, look at this guy, Steve Hilton, who is candidate for California governor, a Republican, and he's in the lead. So look, as the red states are trying to fill people to make their states more blue, more liberal, the blue states are like, it looks like they're starting to get to the point where they're sick of this shit, and they're like, man, we need to get some Republicans in. This stuff is going too crazy, because Steve Hilton he's blowing out the field right now, and 2 Republicans are leading the California governor race.
Not fair. It's not fair.
Candidate, because the Republican candidate shows you how easy it is to figure out.
Athlete debate, transgender athlete debate. Yeah. Where do you stand on the debate over trans athletes, specifically in student sports?
In student sports, I want to overturn the legislation that enables that. It's not fair. It's not fair for girls who've worked so hard. I mean, look, I'm wearing it here. I've got this wristband, which was given to me. I went to Clovis. It says very clearly, Save Girls Sports. A young fighter for girls sports gave me that. I spoke at the track and field championships at Clovis earlier in the year to announce my plan, which is to overturn the legislation. The governor has the right to challenge legislation and overturn legislation through the courts if the governor believes that it violates the state constitution. So we believe that legislation...
Wait.
Me and my legal team.
Okay.
Violates the California Constitution in 2 specific places.
How so?
Section 28, which guarantees safe schools, and Section 31, which bans gender discrimination. Parents are very concerned about it. It comes up all the time. Look, my focus in terms of the campaign I'm running is those core...
Now, mind you what he said. He said parents are very concerned about this. But see, here's the problem in California. The parent will be concerned about their daughter having to lose to a boy in a sport, right? But then they'll be so afraid of the shaming that'll happen if they actually stand up for their kid, they'll just capitulate and say, well, let me just keep voting for the person who's making it possible for this boy to compete against my daughter. I have a personal experience about this when my daughter was playing for Honeybees, when she was playing soccer when she was little. We took her out of the damn league because they were letting little boys, we were undefeated, right? We go up against this team with this little nigga with a wig on, right? Little white boy. And this dude is cooking our ass. By the time it was halftime, man, it was like mercy rule. They were beating us like 20-0 in soccer to the point where they had to take this boy out. And he was crying, but he was dressed like a girl with a wig and all that. He was crying. Right? Because he had to get out the game. We scored no points. And then when I went to the people who were running the league, like, hey, y'all got little boys playing in girls soccer, and it's not fair to them. The little girls crying and stuff, they just getting dogged. Mind you, they were undefeated, so they had got the taste of like victory and winning. They were just crying and stuff. And this heifer gonna look at me and say, well, Mr. Tucker, at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. I said, what is fun about getting annihilated by a biological male who clearly has had soccer experience prior to this, and you're not even in a position where you could even begin to compete? That's not fun. That's humiliating. And that's traumatizing. Nate, show me one group of athletes that gets beat 25 or 30 to nothing in soccer, and they like, yeah, I had fun. I had fun. No, they're not gonna say that. No, they're not gonna say that. They're gonna say, no, I felt ashamed because I got slaughtered, and I felt embarrassed because I looked like I wasn't good enough, and I looked like I shouldn't have been out there. You know what she said? Well, if you don't like that, well, you know, your daughter could move to another role. She could be the water girl or some bullshit. I said, no, this is why I never pay upfront 100% for youth sports. And I took the other part of my money and didn't give it to them. Thank you very much. And I'll keep your jersey. Never pay. Listen, never pay. These days that we in, never pay 100% up front for youth sports. Because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be some bullshit policy that's going to make you want to cuss them out. And if they got your money, they're not giving you a refund, and they know it. Give them half. And then don't give them nothing else if they try to pull a fast one on you. But Steve Hilton is right. British accent or not, Steve Hilton is right.
Or everyday issues of, you know, everything being so expensive, housing costs, gas prices, those things, the business climate. But this is a big issue, and parents raise it with me the whole time. And so I would argue, and we will argue in the courts, that actually the gender discrimination that is supposedly protected in that bill is going the other way. And that legislation now discriminates against girls who are on sports teams and have worked so hard, and they end up being denied the opportunities they work for.
And the California Supreme Court will knock that shit down like nothing. Nope, because they're all just a bunch of activists and stuff. But the whole point of the thing is, everyone knows it's wrong. But like Steve Hilton said, right? Like Steve Hilton was saying, the people are so concerned with affordability and the high cost of living and all this stuff that our governor is making go higher. They like don't have time to focus on stuff like that. But it's like, dude, if there are people paying for their kids to play in these sports, they deserve to have their rights protected too. And you can see this little headline: 65% of adults and 71% of public school parents support requiring transgender athletes to compete on teams that match the sex they were assigned at birth, not the gender identity not their gender identity. Majorities across the state's regions. So this is in California. So if 71% of public school parents support requiring transgender athletes to play on teams of their sex that they were assigned at birth, how the hell did they manage to slip in this thing where men can compete against women in women's sports? Because why? They pile in the bullshit with the stuff that you're actually worried about. They lump it all in. Well, if you care about affordability and helping the homeless, you got to also vote to let boys compete in girls' sports. And people don't have the wherewithal or the information or the desire to say, wait a minute, no, make that separate and we'll deal with this, and then we'll come to that and deal with that. They just, yeah, help the homeless, okay, so they can feel good about themselves.
That is the correct answer, right? This is the correct answer. And Chad Bianco, unsurprisingly, gives the same answer, right, in regards to how this is clearly not fair, right? I mean, this is just common sense, okay? This is like a litmus test. It's like a basic, yes or no question, right? If you answer it wrong, then you're disqualified. At least that's how it should work. So let's listen to Democrats here struggle to get the right answer on this question.
My overwhelming feeling about transgender young people is the awareness that half of them try and kill themselves before they're 18. So when I think about this debate, the thing that I'm concerned about is how many desperate, vulnerable young people there are who literally try to kill themselves.
Yeah. So
if you have a psychological issue to where you're trying to kill yourself, you don't need to be on nobody's sport team. You need to be getting some serious help. And that's a lie. 50% of transgender kids do not try to kill themselves. That is a lie. That is a lie straight from the pit of hell. But that's what they use to scare parents off of trying to seek help for their children. Well, if you try to take your kid, if your kid comes to you and say they think they're trans or they feel like they're not a boy or girl or whatever, they're going to try to kill themselves. That's how you scare a parent from trying to seek viable solutions to the issue. Oh, well, I don't want them to kill themselves. But the studies show that most of these kids, if you just leave them alone and don't mess with them at all, they will more likely end up being gay long term than choosing to be transgender. But they never report those statistics.
Specifically in student sports.
Yep. So I think these are rules that can and should be set by the governing bodies. And so the case of California school sports, the California Interscholastic Federation, they should be making this decision at every level of sports competition.
In California, it's actually state law. So there's a state law that says that pupils must be permitted to participate in school programs and activities, including athletics teams or facilities based on their gender identity, irrespective of the gender listed on their record. So it is not interscholastic here in California.
Although the Interscholastic Federation helps determine the rules under which those competitions occur. So things like the placement of athletes in first, second, third, and fourth, for example, in individual sports. So I think this policy is largely the goal of school sports. We got to ask ourselves, why do we have school sports? As a mom, why do I have my daughter play sports? Because I want her to learn teamwork. I want her to be strong and healthy. I want her to learn how to be coached and get that feedback. And so I think it's important that everybody be given that opportunity. So school sports are not about being the best or brightest. They are about learning how to play in a team. They are about...
It's not... School sports aren't about being the best or the brightest. Okay, let's look at this holistically. Okay, you are a girl playing basketball and your family's poor. So your only hope of going to college for free is to get a scholarship. 3 teams in your division have boys on the team dressed up as girls playing on girls' basketball teams. Now, there's another girl, she's somewhere in Montana where they don't got these psychotic laws, and she plays on a girls' team against a bunch of girls. You go play your game, right? You go play out, y'all both go play on a Monday night. You go 0 for 30 because you got a freaking 6'5" dude guarding you all night, right? And he's destroying you. You give up 50 points on defense because you're going up against a 6'3" dude who you can't do anything with him. He's a monster. And that girl goes on Monday night. She plays against another biological female, right? That biological female does pretty okay, but you score 30 or 20 and she scores 15 and y'all are pretty well matched and you come out on top. Who do you think the university is going to pick when they look at the stats? Because they're looking at stats first before they come even check you out. You who scored 0 points in 3 games because you went up against 3 biological males and they cooked your ass, or her who scored 20 points a game because she went up against biological females and her talent was actually able to show. How do you learn teamwork and how to be coached and all that stuff if nothing you do works because the person who you're going up against is physically superior to you? Do you understand? Do you see the ignorance of that, of what Katie Porter is saying? It makes no sense. It goes against everything that sports is about. That's like me saying, hey, go beat this dude up and I got to run up on him and he got a Uzi. And you're dead. You're not even going to get a chance to engage with him. So we'll never know who was the toughest, who was the best, because he shot you while you were still standing 100 feet away from him, right? But they're not thinking about that. They're speaking purely to appease a certain group of people within the state who are donating them a lot of money. That's it.
Yeah, but it's also about winning.
They're willing to destroy millions of people's lives just to let the few have their way. And that's not even democracy.
Right? Like, yes, I agree that school sports is about teamwork, life lessons, building up the ability to push through conflicts. They can't get this one basic question.
Skill to go to that next.
One basic question, right? They just can't do it.
Building that skill to go to that next more competitive level.
And there's an argument by some saying they can't get to that next level, or they're losing scholarships if they're unfairly competing against somebody who has a natural ability that they don't.
Given the very small number of trans athletes competing in California, I have not seen any data to support that claim.
Okay. And so you are supportive of the current law?
Yes.
Where do you stand on the debate over trans athletes, specifically in student sports?
So like this is an issue where I think it is.
And they're saying, oh, it's just a small amount of people doing this, right? Right. But let me tell you something. One thing about sports, when these parents, a lot of them don't have a lot of money and they rest a lot of their hopes on their kids, right? And they want to get their kid in college, right? Man, there's a thing in Pop Warner that is happening that nobody ever thought parents would do. It's called holdbacks, where they'll literally hold their kid back in school a year or two, so when the kid goes to play sports in middle school and high school, they will have a 2-year developmental advantage over everybody else. So like, say your kid is going to start kindergarten, right? And he's 5 years old. People will hold their kid back for 2 years, won't let him go to school. Might homeschool him, but they'll put him in kindergarten at the age of 6 or at the age of 7, so that by the time he gets to middle school and he's playing like Pop Warner, right, he'll have a 2-year physical advantage on all those kids, right? Then when he gets to high school, he'll have a 2-year physical advantage on all those kids. So he'll graduate from high school when he's 19 years old, going on 20. And he'll be allowed to play in high school sports. There are thousands of parents doing that purposely. They'll literally just hold their kid back. Lil Ray Ray will be out there with a full beard in the 9th grade, cooking people. And there won't be nothing else you can do about it. So don't tell me about the extremes that parents won't go to help their kids reach athletic success.
Disgusting how people have decided to make this a political lightning rod to score political points. And when you look at the numbers, this is a very, in NCAA sports, it's like you can count the number of athletes on one, maybe two hands. Look, I'll tell you what I would tell my daughter. I have a daughter who plays soccer. I love watching her play. It's my favorite thing to do each week is to go out and watch her play. I can imagine a scenario where she ends up in a game and there's a transgender athlete, born a boy, who I can imagine that being unfair. And that would be a conversation we would have, and I can imagine it being unfair. But I also think that we are allowing ourselves to devolve into using that as a litmus test that is actually about demonizing difference, dividing people, scoring political points.
No, it's about honesty. It's not about all that. See, he knows.
Yeah, so he talks about his daughter. He know good and damn well he don't want his daughter playing against no dude. And here's the bigger thing. If it's only enough people that could fit on two handfuls playing college sports, NCAA, which is 50. Right now there's 50 transgender athletes playing in college sports. That ain't on no two hands. Why not disappoint 50 people instead of disappointing 500,000 female athletes that play in college sports? This is the part that just doesn't add up for me. You would rather disappoint 500,000 women in athletics, in college athletics, than disappoint 40 men who want to play with women. Well, what part of democracy is that? This is what democracy looks like. No, it's not. Because if you ask every last one of those girls, why don't we do this? Why don't we just let the girls in the league decide? Do you want boys to be allowed to play in your league? If you really want to be, if you truly want to be fair, why don't you let the athletes decide? Just do a poll. Hey, every team is required to take a vote on this, and every athlete has to give a response. Do you want boys to play in girls' sports? Why not just do that? Why don't they do that right there? Hey, let's get these girls, right? Let's let them decide if they want boys to play in their sports. But you know why they won't do that? Because guess what? They know that the answer, look, come here real quick. Would you like for transgender girls, which are guys dressed like girls, but they're biological men, you're an athlete, right? You play volleyball, right? Looking to get a scholarship. Would you like for those biological men dressed like girls to be allowed to play against you in either high school or collegiate sports?
No, because that would just be incredibly unfair since men are like biologically stronger than girls, and they most likely move like a little bit faster. So it wouldn't be the same. Like, say if you're a middle going up against a transgender person who's also a middle, and they're like 6'6", like super tall, way tall. I mean, you know, obviously some women are very tall, but someone who's tall and physically, biologically stronger than you, that wouldn't end well.
Right. Okay, so why don't we just sleep? Thank you. That's all again. So think. If we really want to be fair, why don't we just see, they don't want to get that response. You know, my daughter, she's 17, but here's the thing. They can speak for themselves. That's women's empowerment. Hey, we don't need the government to decide this. We can let the players decide. We can let the young female student athletes decide. See, but this is the Democrat. The Democrat Party hates women. They say they love women. What they hate is normal women. They love the weirdos, right? The people with all types of mental issues. But the regular, normal, healthy women, they hate them. Because then you get answers like that. You get those kind of answers. Do you know how damning it would be for them if they say, you know what? We're going to let the female athletes decide if they want the biological men to play in the sport. They will get an overwhelming hell no. And what I'm telling you is this. People don't believe me when I say this, but our children are not buying in to this progressive bullshit. You could say whatever you want. Our children, bro, there used to be like this restriction on saying the word fag, right? Because it was like a hate speech. That's what they used to call it. Go to the high school. Fag. They saying that shit every day. To the point where now you could even say it on YouTube and social media again without getting blocked and canceled. Because the kids started that. The kids look at the rules and they say, whatever rules you try to enforce, kids are going to try to break those rules. They're going to break those rules. So if you try to enforce a bunch of rules that you believe are like affirming and help everybody and all this stuff, our children are going to break those rules. They're literally going to go against those rules because kids, that's their natural way. They go against whatever order you try to, I got you, buddy Yeti, right here. Whatever you try to enforce, they're going to break it. So I have hope for the future because I know that our kids are going to reject wokeism. They're going to see how oppressive it really is. And the worst thing you can ever do, go ahead, Zarth, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say something. So you live in California, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to say, why are they allowing this nonsense to happen? Because at some point, somebody's going to, let's say these transgender women come and they're playing a sport. eventually one of these women are gonna get hit so bad they're gonna die or something. It's like, where don't any of the politicians in your state have any common sense to realize that's gonna happen at some point?
The thing you got to understand about politicians, they don't care about truth or common sense. They care about what's going to get them elected, right? And the reality is, most people don't vote. When you look at elections all across the country, most people don't vote. And so the people who do vote, if you can get a very enthusiastic group of like old people, because like I'm in this group called California Sucks, right? And I say this in the group all the time. Old people, particularly old elderly white women, are destroying this country because they are so old and, you know, they don't want to be irrelevant. So they jump on any movement that they feel gives them power. If you go in California, if you go to one of these No Kings protests, you'll see it's 99% elderly people. They're like, I'm just trying to get out the house. You know, I'm just going to try to have a little fun, right? So when they see the transgender or the illegal immigrant, they feel sorry for those people. So they jump on, it's toxic empathy. Oh, we want to help them. They're not caring about the facts, right? These are the people who sit at home and got CNN playing in the background all day long. They're only getting pieces of the truth or the information, and they're acting on it. Oh, there's going to be a No Kings protest this Saturday. They're not really looking at the details of No Kings. That's why when I went to the No Kings protest, I asked those people a couple of questions. I said, if Trump is a king, how are you being allowed to protest right now? When I said that, bro, they had no answer. You need to read more. That's what they say. You need to read. You need to research. Okay, so I need to read and research when all you did was listen to CNN, and that got you to come out here and make a fool out of yourself. So once we understand that, you'll know that, you know, that's what's going on. And one thing about old people, they will outvote anybody. Old people will outvote anybody because they got nothing better to do. They are waiting for election day. I promise you. You want to know why? You want to know why the party that has the presidency always loses the midterms? Because old people show up in record numbers to vote in the midterms when no one else is paying attention. Once younger people start realizing, hey, we got to show up because these old farts are going to vote us out of house and home, that's when you're going to see things start changing. Buddy Yeti, shout out to you for the $5. From the mouths of babes, the young lady is speaking more logic than a literal politicians. Oh, 100%. Thank you, Buddy Yeti. Yeah, that's my baby. You know, she knows how to communicate. She knows how to speak up for herself. People are, oh, conservative men, they this and that. Man, my daughter could get up there and talk with I can send her into any situation. And I could say, hey, go over here and talk to these people as my representative and tell them that I know the message is going to get communicated effectively. I know when she's done, they're going to understand exactly what needed to be understood. See what I'm saying? But they'll tell you, you know, now go to the parents, go to the kids whose parents are liberal, radical extremists or just crazy. They can't even string a sentence together. They don't have any skills because they've been coddled and, oh, don't say that to him. And, oh, he's not, you know, they raise their kids to be soft and vulnerable. They raise victims. I don't care if it is a girl. She's not going to be a victim to you or anyone else. She's going to be able to clearly communicate what the fuck's going on. And that's what you need. And once you empower them in that way, right? Like my daughter had an issue with her volleyball coach a long time ago. She just said straight up, look, I don't like what you said. I don't agree with you. I'm out. That's it. You know, she made her point. She made her case. Bro wasn't trying to hear it. All right. I'm reading the conversation. Bro's over here typing like a third grader. You know what I'm saying? Barely can even spell and shit. And I realized, like, a lot of these adults, they be jealous of the kids who are smarter than them, who are more eloquent and well-spoken than them. And I believe that all Democrat policy and all the people who vote for Democrats in California, I believe that what they do is rooted in jealousy and hatred. I believe that they hate people who they feel have more than them. And I learned that when I was at the dog park one day. And for some reason, we all started getting a conversation about like how much money we're making. And I was like, yeah, well, I make this much, you know, every 2 weeks for my job. Man, those white women were like, you make that much money? And I said, that's it right there. That's it right there. It wasn't even a lot. But when they're making $250 a week working at the coffee shop, well, yeah, it's easy to let socialist ideas creep in. You don't want to work, and you don't want to be married, and you don't want to have a family. So you're broke, sleeping on somebody's couch at the age of 40 years old. And you think that the solution is, well, let's take from the people who have more than me so the government can redistribute it evenly. Yeah, just I wish we could find these socialist people and just go like do a deep dive into their lives. You will see these people are weird as fuck. They're living lives that should be in a movie, a post-apocalyptic movie. I remember two white people just sitting up talking about sleeping in a tent. Like it was just normal. Yeah, man. You know, my friend, he went out of town. And this lady was like, she was staying with her friend and her husband. This was at the coffee shop right here. She said she was staying with her friend and her husband. Her friend went out of town. Her friend didn't feel comfortable with her staying at the house with the husband. This chick was like, oh, I asked her, was it cool for me to just pitch a tent in the lot next door? What? You just went and slept in a tent for a week. Not saying you couldn't just get right to the house and do something with her husband, but you just went from sleeping inside to a tent. Like, no big deal. What? And they're sitting there sipping lattes like they got all the money in the world. And lattes here cost $9 or $10. Come on, guys. Stupid. Before we check out, I'm asking you guys to help me with my $5 donation goal. Buddy Yeti got to start off. We're asking for $5 super chats if you are in a position to do so. Or you could use PayPal or Cash App, which is pinned to the top of the stream, the chat, pinned to the top of the chat. If you help us out, it'll be greatly appreciated. Obviously, time is money, and I do live in California, and every dollar makes a difference, and it helps out a lot. And I'm trying to lean a little bit more into content creation, so that helps, because then it's like, okay, cool. I spent this much time doing this. I made a little bit of cash, and then it's like motivating. I don't know. Money is the motivation. Money really motivates me, especially when you live in Cali with $10 lattes, right? But if not, please help us in other ways by hyping the video when it's done, or giving us a like and even a share, and hit the subscriber button if you have not. I love covering these type of topics. It's not what I cover day to day all the time, but I do want the weekend to become a time where we can have a little bit more fun, cover some different, and people are like, oh, he's talking about politics. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to end on just a sad note of like those kids dying. I just want to talk about something that kind of take our mind off of that. You know, I'm not somebody who gets you on for an hour and just drags you through like negativity. I don't like people doing that to me, and I don't want to do it to you guys. Any last words, Zarth, before we get out of here?
Okay. So let's see. I've been on this, been coming to your show for a long time, and I really appreciate the political stuff that you're talking about, because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I do not know how our people conduct politics in this country, because it's like we're like a chicken with its head cut off. There's no direction whatsoever. And I'm just wondering how we're going to take the reins back and do politics properly for our people, because at this point we need to stop trying to make it seem like we're in a bad position and we our people that have the money to build things up and stuff. It's just that I'm just getting, at this point in life, I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of it, and then just doing my little investments, trying to build myself up and trying to get some control back so the next generation doesn't fall in the same pitfalls that we did we had to grow up with. If that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. And when like this comment right here, you always got to talk about black people. Well, here's the thing. When you don't talk about black people say, nobody ever talks about us. No one addresses our unique issues. No one brings up the issues and problems that we face. The minute you start bringing up those issues that we face, black folks start getting mad that you're talking about them. You got to make up your mind, Jay Reed. Pick a fucking struggle. Either we're not talking about you enough or we're talking about you too much. How do you fix the problems that black people are dealing with when you're afraid to talk about them? How do black people benefit from me sitting up talking about white folks to black people? That's our problem. We're spending way too much time talking about what other people are not doing for us, and worst of all, we spend too much time talking about what's in somebody else's pocket that we're trying to get. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to get anywhere counting somebody else's pockets. If you from the hood, you already know that. I don't know why. That's wisdom that the OGs taught us back in the day. We've thrown that wisdom away because you didn't let some white folks convince you, hey, you going to make progress by pocket watching other people, and they going to give you something. They're not going to give you nothing. They're not going to give you shit. Reparations, I hate to say, it's never coming. Does that hurt you? Does that make you feel better? Reparations is never coming. Ever, 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 ever. If you want to break down on why, I'll be glad to give you one. But it's never going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. We all know it's not going to happen. But if Jason Black and these dudes can keep you distracted and keep making money off of you by lying to you and making you think it's going to happen, they'll do that. They don't have a problem exploiting your ignorance. Me, I don't like to exploit people. I don't like to take advantage of people, right? I don't like doing that because I don't think it's right to do. I don't like selling people dreams and wolf tickets, right? Jason Black just did a live stream today. He was doing it while I was doing this one. Jason Black got 12,000 views. He got 12,000 views in his stream ended 4 minutes ago. He got 12,000 views, 3,000 likes. Why Democrats / Roland Martin are playing dumb about reparations. Why did 12,000 black people, because you know these was all blacks, why did 12,000 black people watch a stream for 2 hours about reparations that they know they're never going to get? Ask yourself that question, right? Right? I don't hate anyone's channel. I love all the channels. More power to them. But why did 12,000 black people sit for 2 hours and watch somebody talk about reparations that they know in their mind and in their heart are never going to come? Our country is getting more diverse. Black people are fighting right now to allow illegal immigrants into this country and give them citizenship to eliminate, that would literally destroy and eliminate our vote. You think those illegals are going to give you reparations once they take over the voting power? Of course they're not. That's what I'm saying. You guys are mad. We hate truth. We hate facts, right? Do you understand? We hate facts and we hate truth. And if you're coming every day with truth and facts, we hate you. There's very few things that outweigh our desire to live in fantasy. At this point, nobody's progressing. We stay behind because our talents and traits are stolen by people who aren't black, and we get no recognition, turns a lot of black folks into crash outs. Cat Daddy Main, this is the most bullshit comment I've ever read. I don't know you as a person. I'm sure you're a great guy. This is bullshit. How can someone steal your talent? Is this like Space Jam, where they make you touch a basketball and all your talent goes into it? That's bullshit. Black people still are like the most talented group of people on earth. No one stole anything. What we're realizing is that all the things that we've put importance on are not something that other people can't do. Black folks be like, black folks, the best dancers, till you see like Fred Astaire and Bob Fosse, and you realize, damn, Michael Jackson got a lot of his moves he was doing from those dudes. Oh wait, black people didn't invent that. They didn't invent that. We might have perfected it, but we didn't invent it. But if you black and you're just growing up in that time, you think black people created that. Black people made that up. You just didn't know. Beyonce, all the single ladies, you thought she made that up. Till you see the white women who did it before her. Right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. No one's stealing anything from you. People are really just, I'm not even going to say reclaiming, but people are just venturing into other things. They're trying things that in their community were either frowned upon or were not given great importance. Back in the day, white folks was like, become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, right? So they didn't have a lot of time to go work and be dance choreographers and let me go dance for Chris Brown as a backup dancer and shit like that. Because they realized being a backup dancer is not a nation building type of occupation. And so when black folks, when desegregation ended, when segregation ended and black folks start going to see white doctors and stuff, white people have positioned themselves, right? They position themselves to get all your money by doing all the jobs that were necessary, the things that people needed, right? So what did they do? They became doctors, lawyers, mechanics, engineers, all that stuff, plumbers, glazers, all that. And you know what black people did? We went, here's my money. I need you to hear my money. Here's my money. And they amassed all this wealth by doing what Booker T. Washington told us to do. Learn the skills that people will pay you for. We abandoned that. I want to be Satchel Paige. I want to be a baseball player. They will pay you for that, but there's not a lot of jobs in that field. And you know it's true because look at the if you look at like Africans when they came to America, they did the same thing that white folks did. Doctor, lawyer, engineer. Now if you look at the Hispanics, they doing the same thing. Come to California, go to an emergency room. Your doctor, there's a good chance your doctor gonna be a Hispanic. And the nurses is gonna be all Hispanic and Filipino. We don't do nation building occupations. We live a fantasy life until we're too old, and then we're forced to do the occupations that pay so we can survive, and we don't do them long enough to build wealth. That's the reality. Okay? I got friends who are like longshoremen and stuff, and they've been longshoremen since we were out of high school. They're about to retire, right? They're about to be retiring with full pensions in a couple years. You know, I also got friends who was like, I'm gonna be an actor, I'm gonna be a singer. Those dudes are still couch surfing. I got one homie, he wanted to be an actor, so he's been pursuing that for a long time. I talked to bro the other day. I'm like, bro, what you doing, man? You making money? He's like, man, I'm out here auditioning for these gigs. I'm like, where you staying at, bro? Man, I got this white girl, man. She a lawyer. I'm staying at her place. How long you been on her? Man, I've been fucking with her for like 2-3 months. Dude's 40 years old. And I'm not saying he can't make it big, and I have all the faith in the world in bro. You know, he's talented, right? But what I'm saying is, you 40 years old, you ain't got no type of retirement. You ain't got no type of career other than pursuing acting gigs. and your entire housing situation depends on the charity of some random white chick who's a lawyer that you met, I guess, in Hollywood, you know, where he's living at right now. That's not nation building. That's not really helping our community. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like a fantasy. A grown man kind of living in a fantasy. And it's like you just question the logic here, right? You question the logic. This story all over YouTube. Which story? Drex Wiz Drex. Hold on, guys. I'm feeling. Hold on. Yeah. So this is where I'm going with that. But he was saying someone stole our talent. No one stole anything from you. And I'm gonna tell you, like I tell everybody, what white folks supposedly stole does not even begin to compare to what black folks gave away. Because everybody know black people. When white folks come around, we get giddy and just start giving them shit. Look at the Negro League. Niggas cheered. I saw I won't even watch the movie 42. The movie about Jackie Robinson. I won't even watch it. Because I look at those times and I'm like, black folks celebrated white people taking our talent out of our baseball league and literally started showing up to white baseball games, abandoned the Negro leagues to go to the white games to watch a handful of blacks play amongst a bunch of whites and get treated like dog shit. Did they really take anything from you? No, you gave it to them. You gave them your talent, and then you went and gave them your dollars to watch the talent because you cared more about being accepted than having your own. And then you'll turn around and say, they stole our leagues. They did this and did that. And it's like, bullshit. No, they didn't. They didn't force you to walk up in the Yankee Stadium. They didn't force you to go watch Jackie Robinson play. They didn't force you to go watch Satchel Paige play when he left the Negro Leagues. There were plenty of talented players still playing in the Negro Leagues. You gave away the Negro League so you could walk into the stadium of the majors. Cat Daddy. Let me ask you a question. Who created peanut butter? George Washington Carver, I think. We were taught in school it was George Washington Carver. Well, he didn't really create it, right? It says Marcellus Edson, a white dude. It changed, man. Keep up. No, you're wrong. George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. He did not. George Washington Carver is the one who found all types of different uses for the peanut, right? Like creating peanut oil and all that stuff. That guy, Marcellus Edson, is the person who invented peanut butter. And in school, you never learned ever that George Washington Carver invented peanut butter. You are literally having revisionist history. That's what you're doing. You were little. You were not paying attention in school like that closely. You were doing your projects and stuff, but you were, bro, most people don't remember nothing from when they was younger than 7 years old or 5 years old. But I know George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter because I believe I was in the 4th or 5th grade and we were arguing about that in my class. And my teacher was like, nah, George Washington Carver. And he was actually black. I had a black male teacher. And this guy was like, nah, George Washington Carver did not. He was African, as a matter of fact. He was like, George Washington did not invent peanut butter. He was like, he discovered many uses for peanut butter. But he didn't invent, for peanuts. But he didn't invent peanut butter. And I mean, I'm sure even the guy who's credited with inventing peanut butter didn't really invent it because I'm sure people were smashing peanuts for a very long time in Africa. Because if you go to Africa, I'm sure you've never been there, they call peanuts ground nuts. And they smash them up and use them in different dishes. So why do you think Nigerians and stuff be making like peanut butter soup. That comes from those ground nuts that they used to take and smash them up and put them in recipes. That was peanut butter. That's what peanut butter is, smashed up peanuts, right? So I don't even think Marcellus would ever invented it. It probably was most likely invented wherever, let me see, where do peanuts originate? Okay, so peanuts originated in South America. Yeah, see, they've been finding shells of peanuts for 7,600 years. So I'm sure, so now the top producers of peanuts are Nigeria and Senegal. China is the number one producer of peanuts, but next is Nigeria and Senegal, right? So, and then Georgia. But they grow a lot of peanuts in Africa, and they call them ground nuts. So, yeah, do you really think that someone in America was the first person to say, hey, let's smash a peanut? Highly unlikely that was the case. But yeah, so George Washington Carver did not invent peanut butter. But I do know he thought of a lot of uses. But the biggest thing about George Washington Carver you should know is he's a eunuch. His parents cut his adopted white parents cut his wing off because they didn't want him messing with their daughters. So he never made love to a woman. So if you go here, right here. No, George Washington Carver did not invent peanuts, nor did he invent peanut butter. However, he is famously known as the Peanut Man for developing over 300 industrial and food products from peanuts, including dyes, plastics, cooking oils. Yeah, I remember the cooking oil. That's why I said peanut oil. And cosmetics to help Southern farmers diversify crops and improve soil health. So really, if you look, see, this is what we do though. This is what black folks do. And I want you to pay attention. We will devalue your contribution if your contribution is not valuable to us. You understand? We will devalue your contribution if your contribution is not valuable to us. This guy invented 300, he developed 300 uses for peanut butter, for peanuts, industrial and food products, right? And he was able to help Southern farmers diversify their crops, right? He was able to basically say you grow a bunch of peanuts and they like, yo, all we gonna do is use these for peanut butter, and people like to eat peanuts. Okay, if you're only selling it for peanut butter and for consumption, the amount of sales you can make are limited. But if someone says, hey, you can extract oil from a peanut and you can cook a turkey in it, now you're selling more because you're making diverse uses for that product. And if you look at like black folks on Thanksgiving, we love frying our turkeys in peanut oil. But that's what George Washington Carver contributed. He made the crop more valuable. That's what he did. So bump peanut butter. This guy is like 10 times, what he did is 10 times greater than that. You're literally devaluing this man's contribution if you focus on peanut butter, right? So look, he used peanut butter for adhesives, axle grease, bleach, chili sauce, fuel briquettes, inks, insecticides, laxatives, metal polish, paper, plastics, and shaving cream from peanuts. Peanut paste was created by ancient Aztecs and Mayan people, and a patent for peanut butter was filed by Marcellus Gilmore Edson in 1884 before Carver's research. So ancient Mayans and Aztecs are the ones who actually made peanut butter. So how the hell was George Washington Carver going to actually get credit for inventing that. It just says Marcellus Gilmore filed a patent for it. He didn't even invent it. His primary goal was to provide economically viable alternatives to cotton, helping poor farmers increase their income and soil quality. See? So he did more for the world than just produce some stupid ass peanut butter that any savage could make by beating a rock on top of a nut. Sounds way more interesting. But like I said, we devalue our contributions because if we feel like that contribution is not valuable to us. But now we know. Yeah, 300 contributions is amazing. But yeah, to this day, we cooking in that peanut oil, boy. And I believe to this day, peanut oil might be one of the cheapest and healthiest oils you can use. See, so peanut oil is considered a relatively healthy cooking oil. They're saying it's rich in They're saying it's rich in monosaturated fats that can help lower bad cholesterol. See, George Washington Carver was helping people live long. See, you was out here devaluing my man's contributions. I don't like that. And lower the risk of heart disease. It is high in vitamin E and has a high smoke point, making it excellent for frying, and in its refined form, generally recognized as safe for those with allergies. Heart health. High levels of monounsaturated fats around 50% and polyunsaturated fats around 30% promote healthy cholesterol levels. Okay, so it has omega-6. While essential, a high intake of omega-6 fatty acids relative to omega-3s can contribute to inflammation. Calorie density, like all oils, it is high in calories and should be used in moderation. Allergy concerns, okay, yeah. But it can be a healthy part of a balanced diet. Yeah, so yeah. Put some respect on my boy George Washington Carver's name. I don't know. Well, how will we know? We buy it by like the gallon. we buy it when we're, I would say it's cheap. You can get a whole gallon of it for $19 at Target. I think a gallon of oil for $19 is pretty damn cheap. What do y'all think? I don't know. I don't know the price of oil, guys. Yeah. So, maybe it's not cheap, but use it anyway. I like avocado oil these days. Yeah, I talked about the shooting. That was way in the beginning. Go back. I ain't waffling. If you don't care, why are you listening? Somebody was talking about that. I can't believe I've been agreeing with you these days. I can't argue with the truth. Well, don't argue with it. Keep it going. Share the stream so your other friends can come learn at the table of Brandon. All right, guys, we're going to head out. Thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate everything you do for me in this channel. Till the next time, take care of yourselves, but most importantly, please take care of each other. Oh, wait. What the heck? Oh, hecky no. I don't know why I have this. Somebody contributed something, but I can't see who it is. But thank y'all. Till the next time, peace.